closing of the day, when my troubles fade away, I'm amazed to find you're still on my mind. I'm amazed to find that you're still on my mind. 'Cause it will hit me without warning, early in the morning. I'm amazed to find that you're still on my mind.
With a million smackers and nervous indigestion,
rich fella eating milk and crackers, I'll ask you one question, you silly so-and-so.
With all your dough, are you having any fun? What you getting out of living? What good is what you've got if you're not having any fun?
Are you having any laugh? Are you getting any loving? If other people do, so can you have a little fun.
After the honey's in the comb, little bees go out and play.
Even the old gray man down home has gotta have hay.
Hey, better have some fun. You ain't gonna live forever. Before you're old and gray, it's still okay. Have your little fun, son. Have your little fun. Go!
Ifs and buts.
You know, the squirrels save and save. And what do they got? Nuts! Better have some fun. You ain't gonna live forever. Before you're old and gray, still okay. Have your little fun, son. Have your little fun.
Running around fixing this and that, giving it up to God and then taking it back. Just release and let it go. You don't even have to think about it no more. Get out of the way, 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 get out the way, and let God do its thing. You look like the weight of the world's on your back. Just take a deep breath and cut yourself some slack. All that drama ain't good for you. You couldn't change what is if you wanted to. So get out of the way, 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 get out the way, let God do His thing. Woo! gonna shine and the river's gonna flow. The tide's gonna rise without your say-so. The universe is working and the good is flowing. You don't plant a seed, then dig it up and see if it's growing. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. Hey, get out of the way. Get out of the way. Get out of the way and let God do His thing. No matter where you come from, no matter where you're going, here's a place where you can take comfort in the knowing that whether if you've come to stay a while or just passing through, this door is open to you. Come and let's be silent. Come and share a hug. Come, let's pray together. Come love and be loved. From the blissed out to the turned out, from the pampered to the abused, this door is open to you. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. The God in us recognizes the God in you. The God in you. Whether you're black or white or gay or straight, Christian, Buddhist or Jew, this door is open to you.
Good morning, Claremont Center for Spiritual Living. How are you this morning? Lovely to see all of you. I missed you last week, but I know you were in good hands. I'm Reverend Tracy, and happy to welcome you here. Know that wherever you are on your spiritual path, this is the right place for you. We want to say hi to our friends online. Everybody wave. We're glad you're here, and we know that this community extends far beyond these four walls. So thank you for choosing us as the place to be this morning. We've got some good stuff today. Our music today is all being provided by our lovely Reverend Drac, the man of many hats. And our practitioner on platform is Reverend Mary. And Reverend Mary will do our opening treatment and invocation and do a short reading for us to get started. But we like to start with music, so we're going to ask you all to stand. The words are in your program, for Spirit is in this place.
We have come together as a family. We have come here as we are. We have come with arms wide open.
All right. Let's take all of that energy, that joy, and breathe it in. And as we breathe it in, close your eyes. Take another breath, and let the sound of the bowl take you to that sanctuary of the heart within. Turning your attention to that place within you that is the home of love, of peace, of kindness, of all that is good. For we know that within each and every one of us there is a place where we remember the oneness of all.
As I stand here this morning, I just think, oh my God, ever present here with us right now. That presence of unconditional love, that presence of possibility, of freedom and joy, of belonging and connection. All of that is within each one of us and between each one of us, connecting us together in community. I give thanks for this room, for the air conditioner, for the chairs that we sit in, for Reverend Tracy, for Reverend Drac doing our music. And for each and every person sitting here, because together we do create this experience, this expression of spirit this morning. And it's in that knowing that we begin our morning together. And so it is. So my reading today is from Pathways of Being, by Eckhart, let's see, was it Eckhart Tolle that I brought this? Not really sure, but it's Pathways of Being in Absolute Joy. Oh, that's Holmes. Okay. I was looking, it's one of these guys. So, yeah, one of those. This particular section was written by Monique Ruffin. And it says, you carry all the ingredients to turn your existence into joy. That's happies. Everything necessary to the full complete expression of the most boundless experience of joy is mine now. And that's our science of mind. One evening, a woman sitting next to me in a class I was taking laughed at almost everything the facilitator said. Because she was laughing with such frequency, I began to pay closer attention to the lecture, but I couldn't find the humor in it. Eventually, the woman shared with the class that she was battling cancer and was looking forward to being given a clean bill of health at her next doctor's appointment. I was moved by her sharing, and so after class, I spoke with her privately. She told me that her spiritual teacher suggested that she have fun with her cancer experience. From this suggestion, she began to laugh at everything, not because it was funny, but because she had life in her to laugh with. My breath was taken away by her story, and I began to think about all the times that simply being alive was not enough for me to feel joy or value in some of my experiences. It can be so easy to take life too seriously and forget to have fun, to find joy in no matter what, even when we have dis-ease. If it is true we are spiritual beings having a human experience, then we get to choose our perspective, regardless of the experience we're in. With practice, ultimately our experience will match our thoughts of harmony and joy. So today we look into your life today and choose to have fun because you have the opportunity to. This is the sweetness of joy. Thank you.
Wow, what a good reading. Really like that. This piece I'm going to play today, what inspired it is what I was thinking about with creativity, how we've got this primordial, like, potential energy in each and every one of us, a spirit that's waiting to be activated in some way, shape, or form. And I remember Reverend Tracy talking about, what was it? Imagination plus energy equals creativity. So I was thinking about that energy being activated, but how it's kind of dormant sometimes. So in this music, I'm thinking about this energy that's like potential, then it kind of starts to be used in some really amazing way, whether it's just taking a walk around the block and then eventually doing a race, or starting with a little tune in the brain and making a piece out of it like the Jacksons do, or whatever it is, or painting. It could be anything. And then how it kind of, okay, the creativity is over, and then there's this dormant place, and then it starts again. That's kind of how we are in life. So that's what this piece is about.
Delightful. Definitely creative. All right, so we're going to light our candle today for inspiration. Inspiration and spirit share the same root, and to inspire is to breathe in. And so what we're doing today is looking at ways to breathe in new ideas from whatever we hear or from whatever pops into our head. Because today is pick a page or pop a question. So I'm going to ask, before we get started, I'm going to ask our ushers to come around. If you have a question about Science of Mind or how it works or why you should care, put it on the little piece of paper and drop it in the basket. We'll bring those up, and then we'll take turns reading from some of our metaphysical writers or answering your questions about Science of Mind. So if you haven't visited us before, normally I do a Sunday talk. We have a topic and a theme and something to say, and today it's all about you. What do you want to know? What would help you to practice spirituality in your own life? All right, so we have questions for people. Anybody have a question? I mean, that's fine if you don't, but I'm thinking you might. And then if you make a point, pick a page also. No, you don't have to pick a page on the paper. We'll do that out loud. You just write your questions down if you have one. Here you go, Mickey, just keep walking there. And then if you think of something while I'm speaking, we'll just bring it up, okay? Give everybody a minute. All right, we got a few?
The answers.
Well, and questions may occur to you as we go along. That's fine too.
Anything over here? Ready?
Okay?
Have one?
All right.
Mary, did you have a question, anybody? Okay. Let me just take these.
Okay. I'll probably read it, Ed.
Okay.
Okay, so if during the course of today, you think of something, write it down and just hold it up and Mickey will write it up to you. You just watch for raised hands. No, I'll take those.
Okay.
Yeah. Just if anybody has one along the way.
Okay.
Because you know, sometimes I say things that don't make sense. In this way, okay. We weren't quite clear in the directions, but that's okay. We're going to make it work. All right, so we have two books today to choose from. One is Christian D. Larson. He's a new thought writer. Very much in the style of Ernest Holmes. This book was printed in, it doesn't say, the early 1900s. And Ernest Holmes, this thing called Life. So what we know about writers that wrote in the early 1900s is that they used words a bit differently than we did, and they didn't really believe in punctuation. So if you try to read this stuff yourself, it's like this big long sentence, and you get to the end and you go, what? So the idea is, you tell me a page number, I'll pick a sentence, an idea off that page, and elaborate, and see if we can't make things just a little bit clearer. Because what these authors are trying to do for us is to explain that life is interconnected, that it is a spiritual experience, and that while our culture does not always support our looking at things in a spiritual way, we can learn to do that. We can practice seeing things from a higher perspective, from a broader perspective, from a more inclusive, loving way of being. And that changes our experience of life. So that's what we're doing today. So you're going to have two choices. We can pick a page or pop a question, and then based on what that is, I'll either read a question or we'll take one of these books. So what are we going to start with? Anybody? Sally? What? Wait, Sally?
I'm sorry, I forgot the title of the book.
Oh, it doesn't matter. I mean, I can show them to you. It's called The Hidden Secret, Christian D. Larson. And book number 2 is This Thing Called Life by Ernest Holmes. Okay, so Graham.
15.
On a book or? Larson, page 15. All right, let's see what he says on page 15. All right, he is talking in this book primarily about faith. And we'll talk more about what that means to him. To live is to move forward. To do anything or attempt anything is to move forward. And to move forward is to enter the great unknown, unknown to the senses, but not to faith. Faith knows that the seeming void of the great unknown is solid rock. Faith knows that man may safely proceed, and by what faith man may possess, he does proceed. He's talking about trusting life. He's talking about anything that we do moves us forward. It is an expression, an expansion of life. Now, we've probably been taught our whole lives that there are right things to do and wrong things to do, or best steps to take, or not, worst decisions you can make. It's not that we don't have discernment. It's not that we don't make our choices. But the idea that somehow we could do life wrong is limiting. It holds us back. It restricts us. So if we understand that even though we may not know what's next, we can step forward in confidence. We can believe that life will support us, that whatever we decide to do, the opportunities, the means, the answers to our questions are going to show up along the way. Because when you think back on your life, that's how it works, right? They've always shown up along the way. So we can step forward with confidence, with a sense of trust, that we're not really stepping off into an abyss, but everything we do is going to take us into a greater expression of life. And we don't have to hold ourselves back all the time. Okay? All right, pick or pop. And then we'll do pop. Page 12 of the Holmes book, this thing called Life. All right, let's see what we have here. The spiritual gifts which people have so earnestly sought after out of the anguish of their incompleteness are not something which a reluctant deity has withheld from man. Quite the reverse. They are something which man, in his ignorance, has withheld from himself. Life is not vindictive. It is not withholding anything from you. It's not even waiting until you're good enough to receive. Life is love, beauty, and wisdom, as well as energy and imagination. You will be able to use its power in exact proportion as you embody its essence. We're called to remember that there is always good, there is always beauty, there is always peace available in life. Even if we're not seeing it in the moment, even if we're not living it in a particular relationship, the peace of life is possible. The benefits of life are possible. The abundance of life is still out there. What normally keeps us from living it or experiencing it is our belief that either we're not worthy, or that somehow we're being punished, or that we don't deserve it, we haven't earned it. That's not the way life works. The way life works is that all things have already been given. We are enjoying the beauty and the wisdom and the good of life, and it doesn't take away from anyone else. Because if it's truly beautiful, if it's truly loving, it doesn't detract from anything or anyone. There's nothing that says that our having the life that we desire, that those things which bring us great joy, or that energize us, or that give us room to be creative, there isn't anything in life that says, if you do that, someone else loses out. That's not what our culture teaches us, right? There's not enough to go around. Get yours, hold on to it, hoard it. But when you think about life, all of life, there is no limit to what beautiful things can be experienced, what choices you can make that will bring joy to your life or to the life of your loved ones. There's always room for all of us, as long as we are using the law in a way that does not seek to harm anyone. There's enough for all. Okay. Pick or pop.
Page 30
Page 30 in Larson, and I promise to come back to this front of the room here. Page 30 in Larson. You know, sometimes the languaging is a little bit much. One moment, please. Yeah, that's not going to work. One moment. No sense picking it up in the middle of an obscure idea. Sally, pick another page number, please.
Page 20.
20. All right. I don't want to have to read the whole chapter to you for it to make sense. Okay. By entering the immensity of superior mental worlds, we'll come back to that, faith enlarges the mind, thereby increasing capacity, ability, and every substantial quality contained in the world of intelligence. Through the same process, faith expands consciousness beyond all present limitations and adds rich domains to the kingdom of mentality. Basically, we're saying there's more to life than you already imagine there is. And that by choosing to understand that all that is greater than what's right in front of us is also available to us, we change the way we think about the world. We change the way we feel in the world. You've all felt stuck somewhere, right? You got, I'm going to have to do this or this, and neither one is good. And yet, there's always a way forward. There's always a third way. There's always more than one choice, always. So what we're talking about is practicing in our minds to recognize when we shut ourselves down, well, I don't have to choose between work and school next year. I can, what? I could take the whole year off and go live in a mountain, live in my tent on the campground somewhere and experience nature, and then I'll know what to do when I come back. We can always find another way. So we have to practice recognizing when we're limiting ourselves and remembering that life is greater than what we can see. How many of you, well, let's just do this. Think back to your first job. I know that's a while back for some of you. Think back to your first job. When you were looking for that job, were you looking for just one job or were you looking for any job? Maybe either, maybe both, right? When you got that one job, was it just what you wanted? Once you got into it, was it really what you expected? No. I thought I wanted to work for hotels. Do you know hotels are open 24 hours a day? Do you know what happens to people who work in the front office of hotels? They work sometime during the 24 hours a day cycle. They never close. I got into it, loved the work, hated the hours, right? So we don't know what we don't know until we start. What that tells me is that no matter what I'm interested in, there's more to it than I can see from standing right here. Right? I'm going to start and take a step and take a step, and each time I take a step, more is going to open up. My whole life is like that. Your whole life is like that. Why do we think we can only do this when every step increases our vision? Every choice to be open to what's possible brings in more possibilities. The work is done in our thinking. The experience expands to the degree that we are able and willing to be open to something new. That's a choice we can make. All right, up here in the front section. Pop, we have a question. All right, let's see. Can I believe in another faith and still attend church here? Yes. Ernest Holmes was very clear about that. He's the founder of this denomination called religious science, the science of mind and spirit, which he understood as the science of consciousness and spiritual being. a science because there are principles we can use, just like the principle of gravity works the same for everybody. There are spiritual principles that we tap into. For example, there are consequences for every action. We've all lived that out. We know that's true. We can use that to our advantage once we understand how that works. So, what he said when he was doing this philosophy, pulling this philosophy together, he didn't really want a church, which is why 14 years ago, we changed our names from a church to Centers for Spiritual Living. What he said was, anyone can come here and learn to be better at whatever it is they practice. And so we have Buddhists that come to our centers. We have Jewish practitioners who come to us. We teach from all the different spiritual traditions because every spiritual tradition has something to do with the same spiritual principles we teach. In other words, if you kind of take away the rules of you have to do this and this and this and this, and then you'll get to heaven. Well, if you live a good life and you're open to possibility and you see the beauty in others and you live your life from love, wait, everybody teaches that part. When we live from that, you can also practice the rituals of Islam. You can practice the rituals of Buddhism. You can be an active atheist and still find some way of living your best life in a new way because you have a new perspective on how you see the world. So we are about teaching people different ways of seeing, not what you have to believe. Which goes along with the second question, do we have rules you must follow? Be nice. Be nice. Be nice, be inclusive, be curious. Don't be judgmental. Don't call people wrong. Be nice, be loving. That's probably our only rule. We don't really have a creed or a set of requirements. Okay? Next. Pop. Explain the science of mind symbol. Okay. I don't have one up here. Is there a magazine in the back, maybe? One moment, please. Oh, we're wheeling it out. You may have seen it. Some of you, I know a lot of you have seen it. A big circle. It's a big circle. Looks like it has a big V in the middle. Oh, there we go. Oh, lovely. Oh, isn't that nice? All right, so here we go. So the circle represents all of life. It's not meant to be an inside and an outside. It's a representation of the infinity of life, all of life. And there are 3 sections in this life, not separate entities, but aspects of the same thing. Like we have ice and steam and water. They're aspects of the same substance. So life has 3 different aspects. The first at the top is spiritual. It's the invisible. It's the ideas that we have. It's the divine nature that we imagine to be at work. It's what we would call God, but what we might also call divine intelligence or first cause. The bottom section is form. That's everything we can see and touch. It's the physical body. It's the experiences we have in the world. It's the way in which spirit shows up here, through and as us, through and as all of life. The middle section is the law or the soil that the spiritual work is done to move into form. So here, think of it this way. You're an engineer, you have a bright idea for a great invention that's going to create fresh water in Africa. So the end result will be the wells or the tablets that purify the water or the piping system that brings it from the river. That's the form. But in between are the ways in which it is actually created. And that relies on 2 things. It relies on what you believe is possible and what you're willing to try, and also the way life works, the principles of life that say, water runs downhill, right? If you're going to run some pipe, wouldn't it make sense to run it so that it falls automatically and you don't have to pump it? So when you know how things work, you use that to your advantage. But it also depends on what you do up here. Because the truth is, we each think differently. We're like this stained glass. It's the same white light that comes through, but it shows up as different colors because it's coming through us, the individual. We're all the light of the world, and yet we all shine differently. So your unique approach to the spiritual or inspiration that you receive is going to determine what that form looks like. And it not only works for creating something physical, it works for how you move through the world, how you understand your neighbor, how you choose to approach conflict, how you resolve questions and problems in your own mind. Principle plus your individual belief or your individual understanding of yourself is what brings the invisible, the idea, out into something that we see in the world. The V actually has a little whoop off to one side there. Everything comes from the spirit through law into form. And what do you know about everything on earth? Eventually it passes away, right? The form eventually erodes, disappears, fades. And that is the returning to the nothingness from which it came. So from the invisible to the visible, back into the ethers. That's the teaching symbol for Science of Mind. And everything that we talk about is this creative process, whether we're talking about ourselves, our society, our communities, the universe, it all follows the same pattern. Thank you for this. Thank you. All right. Pop. Okay. Okay, save that one. That's a big one. How to give grace when it doesn't come easy. Nah, really? I think the first thing that grace requires is that we start by remembering that the energy of life that we are is love. And we'll talk about that. When you think about loving someone or something, you want to give to it, right? You want to sustain it. You want to nurture it. How many of you have plants at home that actually live? Okay. Okay. So you know that when you're supporting a plant, you've got to water it. Maybe you've got to feed it. Maybe you've got to trim it. You've got to pay a little bit of attention to it. There are some plants that flourish even if you don't pay much attention to them, but they still need their basic needs. So loving is an action, an activity of supporting and sustaining life. And that's who we are. That's what we are. You know, our natural tendency is to help, is to reach out a hand, is to support someone in need, is to look for ways to fix problems. We're just wired that way. This is the expression of love as a human being. So to give grace, to offer room for someone to be human, even if it feels like an attack, or even if it feels detrimental, or even if they're just being a pill. It requires that we remember the truth of who we are, which is greater than any circumstance, and that love always finds a way, even if that way is to walk away. Right? We do not teach that you stand in the middle of a toxic relationship and stay there and just suck it up. Not who we are. The most loving thing you can do sometimes for yourself is to protect yourself, is to walk away. The most loving thing you can do when there is a misunderstanding is to make an attempt to listen, to ask, to be curious, without trying to convince, which always makes me think of politics. You're not going to convince anybody. You're not going to convert anybody who's set in their ways. But you can be curious. You can ask why someone thinks the way they do. And then you can say, I see it differently. That's grace. Because what you're doing is you're acknowledging that we each have our own right to live the life we want. And we also have the right to expect not to be treated poorly, not to accept bad behavior. Your bad behavior doesn't take away the spiritual light that you also are, right? None of us is just our worst experience of ourselves. None of us is just the best experience of ourselves. We are all a mix of light and dark. And if we remember that, it's a little bit easier to give people space. And if there's trauma involved, if there's great pain involved, then your responsibility is to do your healing of your life. That was the microphone. Your healing of your own life so that you know who you are and can stand clearly. If I try to convince you of something that's not true, you're going to know. I can be very convincing. I convince you all this stuff every week. Most of it I don't make it up. I could. But if I know something to be true and say it, you also know that, right? Think about that. People you know that are confident, that are competent in what they do, they resonate with us differently. I went to a workshop once and we did this experiment where you hold your arm out and your partner tries to push it down, right? Some of you have done this. So you say, I say, my name is Teresa, and my arm goes down because I can't hold it up because it's not true. My name is Tracy, you can't push my arm down. Now, I'm not aware of doing anything differently, but truth will win out. So when you know your own truth, it's a lot easier to set healthy boundaries, to give people room to have big feelings, even in your presence, and to know when to walk away. But you have to love yourself first. You have to know yourself first. You have to be willing to be clear about what's true for you. And then you'll be able to recognize it in others. I hope that helps. Okay, pick or pop. Wait, another pop. Okay. Let's see. What's the relationship, if any, between New Thought and Science of Mind? Science of Mind is considered an expression of New Thought. New Thought is a movement that started with the Transcendentalists back in the late 1800s. So think Ralph Waldo Emerson, Judge Thomas Troward in England. There are other, Mary Baker Eddy, thank you, Emma Curtis Hopkins, that's the one I was trying to remember. So people that started looking at life differently, saying that, you know what as within, so without. You know, what's in me is what I'm looking for out here. This outer world is a reflection of me in the sense of how I see things working or what I expect to find. You all know people who expect the worst and get it. Right? You all know people who complain about everything and seem to always have something to complain about. You get what you're looking for. So the Transcendentalists said, that's not just an old wives' tale. That's actually a philosophy of life and a way of understanding the world. So Science of Mind came from the same roots as Christian Science, as divine science, as Church of Truth. All of these movements came from the teachings of Emma Curtis Hopkins, who said, if we understand spiritual writings metaphysically, beyond the stories, we look for the meaning. If we understand the meanings or the metaphysical approaches, then we have a broader view of how life works. And we can tap into that. So a lot of it is Christian-based, yet it, as I said before, it pulls in the same teachings that most theologies teach without the dogma, without the expectation of certain behaviors. Okay? All right. Pick or pop? Pick.
Ernest Holmes, 83.
Ernest Holmes, 83. . Wait till I find how far it goes. Yeah, it's kind of the middle of a story. Can I ask you for another page?
52.
Okay, it's a long story, so. 52. Circumstances do not create themselves. They are always molded by someone's thought patterns. If one were to take an inventory of his mental reactions to life, his inward emotional states, his faiths, fears, beliefs, and hopes, he would be surprised to see how exactly they dovetail with his outward circumstances. In the collective life, they're molded by the sum total of all persons' thoughts. In our individual lives, they are molded by our own personal reactions. We teach that you can change your life by changing the way you think about it, by changing the way you think about yourself, how you show up in the world, how the world works. Change the way you think and your experiences change. We sometimes get faulted for being Pollyanna. Oh, it's just positive thinking. Oh, everything's la, 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 beautiful. It's not. We know that. We're not one to say that you're not hurting if you're hurting, or there isn't trauma if there's trauma. But we need to understand that this power of changing our lives allows us to change the way we respond and the way we view things. But it does not completely control what comes at us. We don't change circumstances to the point where nothing bad ever happens again. Nobody ever gets sick, and there's never war, and there's no trauma. We do stop attracting people that fit an old negative pattern if we're no longer thinking in old negative patterns. Some of those complainers will just disappear on their own. But what we're saying is that we are subject to not only the way we ourselves think, but think of all the invisible thoughts and mores and norms that surround us. We are products of our culture. If you travel somewhere else in the world, the people who live there are products of their culture. Maybe we know that Eastern life is very different than Western life. Eastern medicine is very different than Western medicine, right? We know there are differences because there are different cultures, and we are subject to that. We're also subject to all of humanity. So the ways in which humanity has evolved over millennia affects the way we see and act in the world. Now, we can't change everybody out there. Can't do it. We can't even change everybody in our own community. And if you've ever tried to change a family member, you know you can't change anybody in your own family either. But we can change the way we see things, the way we see ourselves, the tools that we have, the practices that we use are all about anchoring in what we can do, what we can choose, how we can react or respond. What we choose to do for ourselves, we can then extend to others. When we know that we have enough because life is abundant, then it's easier to share. I don't have to be wealthy in order to be a giver. When we receive something, we can appreciate it and be grateful, and that will give us more reasons to be grateful, because that's one of the spiritual principles of life. And we may find things in our lives that we don't think we're grateful for until long after the fact. How many of you have had a negative experience that, looking back on it, shaped you in a way that you use to your benefit now? Yeah, exactly. I know for me, I was always the new kid at school, not a comfortable place to be. I got really, really good at observing people and figuring out how they acted with each other and who the nice people were and who the mean girls were. Because I watched, because I didn't want to do anything that would make anybody mad at me. I was the new kid. I wanted people to like me. But the way that served me is it made me excellent at hospitality. I'm the best bar back you will ever have. I see what needs to be done and what's running short and what you're going to need in 5 minutes, and I'm there already before you ask. So things that are difficult shape us and give us gifts that we can then use. And so part of creating the grace in our own lives is to recognize that whatever we've lived through, because we've all lived through things, has offered us a gift in some way. And whether it takes 2 minutes, 2 years, 2 decades to understand what that gift was, it's still a gift. And when we know that, we're less afraid about taking those chances or meeting that new person or stepping into that room with strangers, because we know that it always works out in the end. And that's all we have time for today. Thank you so much for playing with me. I'm sorry I didn't get to every question. Thank you very much. All right, so let's take a minute. Let's anchor this in prayer. I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. Take a breath. And settle for a moment into this idea that we are surrounded by this invisible force called life. That this omnipresent energy, this essence of all things, by any name, is the substance of which we are made. We may call it God. We may call it Allah. We may call it love or intelligence. We may simply call it being human, our best selves. But this energy of life which surrounds and fills and expresses through us is the truth of everyone. And that life is good. That life is abundant. That life is giving and sustaining itself always. And if it's true in life as life, it is true for everyone. And while it may be that people behave badly, the life itself that is within them is still a spark of the divine. And that a change of heart, a change of mind, a change of awareness or perspective can shift the very experience we all have every day. And so I speak my word for that which is good to show up in ever greater ways for each and every one of us, in the ways that make the most sense for each of us. For that one light, that one love, that source of all being shines through and as each person individually, like stained glass. Each unique, all as valuable as the next. I allow my heart to open to all those I meet, to trust and know that as I show up in the world as love, I am met with love. And where it does not seem to be loving, I do not change my own heart. The power of my life is the power of all life, which is love in action. As kindness, as compassion, as generosity, sometimes as boundaries. Love is all that there is. Love is another name for God, another name for spirit, another name for life. And a life lived as love is one of abundance and generosity and wisdom. And for this and so much more, I am grateful. Grateful for the life experiences that have shaped me to this moment. I am grateful for everyone that I meet that brings their own unique perspective of life into my orbit. I am grateful for the opportunity to be in community, to belong, to offer a welcome or a helping hand. Grateful for all that is good and all that I continue to expand into being. And knowing this to be true, I simply release this word into the law into that spiritual truth, knowing that as I believe and as I have spoken, it is already done in the consciousness of the One. I simply allow this abundant life to unfold in time, on time, and recognize its beauty. And so it is. All right. Let's have a little more music, shall we? Invite Reverend Drack back to the keyboard.
So all I've got in my mind is an idea of a tune. It is in the middle section right now, and the V is coming through. So you will get to witness that. It is Pick a Page, Pop a Question Day, so I did bring my deck. So I'm going to ask anybody who's open to it to pick a card, and I will read that, knowing that it is what is right and true for everybody here today. Because this is just simply a tool of divinity that Spirit works through. Doesn't work magic. It's all of us aligned in consciousness wanting to learn, pulling the right card for one another. Is that Diane picked Spot of Grace. Each person is born with an unencumbered spot, free of expectation and regret, free of ambition and embarrassment, free of fear and worry, an umbilical spot of grace where we were each first touched by God. Ooh, wow. It is this spot of grace that issues peace.
What I know is that my creativity doesn't look like that or sound like that, but I really appreciate that. That is lovely. That is just lovely. Thank you so much for that. All right, I'd like to invite our ushers to come forward. This is our time of contribution where we simply put into form how we support this community of love and teaching and fun and joyous laughter. And I know that as we give, we are also blessed. We know that we cannot outgive what life gives us. We simply pass it along, keeping that channel open, allowing that flow to happen. So if you will, our prosperity affirmation is in your program. If you'd like to say it along with me, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am prosperous now. Those of you online, there is a donate button on our website or also in our weekly e-blast if you are making financial contributions. And those of you that donate your time and your talents to all that we do here, we are grateful as well. If I did not get a chance to answer your question and you would like to talk about it after service, I'll make myself available. Please come up and let me know. And if you'd like to see the books that we talked from today, I'll have them on the back table for you to take a look at. All right. Oh, we probably should do the affirmation. Thank you. You know, this is not our normal service, and so I was gone last week, so I'm getting back into it. I'm catching on real quick here. In your bulletin, there is an affirmation, and I'm going to ask you to repeat after me. That allows our friends that are online to participate. The voices of life activate my imagination. I am inspired and energized by new ways of thinking. And so it is. All right, thank you, Sue. All right, so what's going on here? A couple things. We have an online meditation on Wednesday evenings at 6:30 on Zoom with practitioner Nisa Burrows. Raise your hand, Nisa. Nisa's here. It's a lovely, lovely hour in the evening during the middle of the week to recenter yourselves. The link is in our mailing and also on our website. You can go to that and click to join. Wednesday afternoons during the summer, we have a craft afternoon here in the chapel at 1:30. All kinds of projects. Yes?
This week we're going to do chalk painting on wooden boxes.
Chalk painting on wooden boxes. Now, how many of you think you can't draw? Good. We'll see you Wednesday. You can scribble, right? Yes, okay, that's all that is required. All that is required is that you show up and have fun. Okay. And stencils. There are stencils. See, there are always guidelines, right? All right, so the different project every week, this week at 1:30 here in the chapel kitchen, or the fellowship room, and it'll be fun. It's always fun. Next Saturday, we have a concert, a great concert. How many of you have heard Tina Meeks? Yeah, she of the beautiful voice. We get to hear one or two songs when she's here with us on a Sunday. She can sing more than that. So we have a concert scheduled for Saturday afternoon between 2 and 4 in this room. We're going to get to hear the repertoire of songs and types of singing that she does, and you will not be disappointed. It is a donation basis. The suggested donation is $20. Please come. Please bring your friends. It's a lovely afternoon of music. There'll be refreshments afterwards. And it's just, anytime you have an opportunity to hear one of our artists do more of their repertoire, you will feel like it was worth it. So do come on Saturday at 2. There is a donation box in the back for Larkin Place. That is the new build that's here in Claremont for people who were previously unhoused. They have a request for supplies for their people that as they move in, that they get started. We help them get set up. Basic stuff, folks, trash bags, cleaning supplies, coffee pods. Everybody needs coffee, right? So there is a list on the back. There's a flyer in the back with the list. So next time you go shopping, throw a couple extra things in your cart, bring them here, and we'll take them over to Larkin Place when we fill it up. Let's see. What else? Anything else? Yes, Sally.
Potluck the first Sunday of the month.
Okay, so we have a potluck coming up the first Sunday in September, because we're past the one in August now. I got it. So we have a potluck is, you can bring anything to a potluck. We've never run out of food. No one's ever left hungry. And we love whatever you bring. So come. It gives us a chance to sit and talk and visit. And we've done the last couple months, and it's been really fun, really fun. Plus, Diane makes lemon bars, and, life is good when you've got lemon bars. No pressure, Diane, no pressure.
And there's the foundation sign-up.
Oh, we still have a foundation sign-up. If you're new to this philosophy, if you are interested in learning more about what we talk about on a Sunday and how it might apply to your own life, making your own life better, we have a foundational class that we're looking at doing when and where, and all of that will be decided based on who signs up. So if you're a working person, we'll do something in the evening. If you're, don't drive at night, we can do it during the day. We'll figure all that out. But do sign up if you're interested. Reverend Mary will give you a call, and we'll get that started as soon as we have enough folks for a class, okay? All right. Do check out our bookstore. We're going to open up I keep pointing over here because behind that tree, there are snacks and coffee and a bookstore. So do stop by and visit with us, and if you have any questions. Yes, sir?
My sister Denise made fresh chocolate chip cookies for us.
Oh, we have fresh chocolate chip cookies. So y'all want to stay for snacks. All righty then. Oh, we have a testimonial about how good the cookies are. All righty then. All right, so at this point, I'm going to invite you all to stand, to move to the sides of the room, and we're going to sing to Eddie Watkins Jr. If you don't know the words, just clap.
Take a look at the
Turn it up.
person next to you. And say, God loves you and I love you too. Now feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. 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 In the name of love. From every walk of life. Every walk of life. Every creed and color. Every creed and color. In kinship we unite. In honor of the God in each other. We come together. 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 In the name of love. We come together. 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 In the name of love.
En un rincón de mi